Hi, my name is Lori Fike English, and I am the founder and owner of a company called Chaos.com. We are a move management company that specializes in helping older adults transition from one home to another. One of my favorite stories, and the one I want to share with you today, is about a couple that I met when I first started. It was Mr. and Mrs. Helms. They lived together in an independent living apartment, but unfortunately, Mr. Helms needed a higher level of care. So we were moving him to assisted living and her to an independent apartment that was literally four doors down. It was awesome. So she could just go visit him whenever she wanted to, because obviously the separation was going to be a little hard for them. So we packed their apartment, his pile, his, her. And I was charged that day with the cabinet above the refrigerator, which I think was because I'm probably the tallest person, but also because they know I am not scared of what you're going to find up there, because that is where things go to die. So I opened up the cabinet above the refrigerator, and inside of it was one of those really pretty wooden pipe um, stands, like a carousel that you spun around, and the pipes were on the perimeter, and the tobacco was in the middle. My grandfather had one just like it. And then there were all these bags of pipes or tobacco. So I'm looking at it and I'm thinking he's on oxygen. So there were probably some marital issues around this. I'm not saying anything. Clearly, she relocated it to the top of the refrigerator for a good reason. So after we had gotten them all unpacked and settled into their respective rooms, I had a quiet minute alone with him. And I wheeled him and his oxygen tank over to the bedside table and pulled out the drawer. And I had lined all of the pipes up in the drawer with the bags of tobacco. Honestly, when I pulled open that drawer and he saw what was in there, you would have thought it was the Holy Grail. Like this man was clearly seeing friends he had not seen in a long time. So we sat there and we pulled every single pipe out and we just smelled them. We obviously didn't smoke anything, but we pulled them out and we smelled them. And then we pulled the bags out and we smelled them. We were like two little kids and just totally enjoying all the feelings and the memories that came with that smell that was familiar to both of us and that we both held really dear memories to. So we're going through, I put everything back, closed the drawer because I was scared of Mrs. Helms. So I put it all away and he put this sweet little frail old hand on my arm and he looked me dead in the eye and he said, "Honey, sometimes you just have to stop and smell the tobacco." Oh my gosh, that was so cute. He was so clever, and I thought it was so smart. But what I didn't realize at the time was that that quick, maybe 5 or 10 minute exchange and us doing that, and the words that he said were so profound. There were so many lessons tied up in that simple little experience. Obviously, we all need to slow down. That I don't need to tell anybody that. We all are guilty of not slowing down. But what he also showed me was that really tight human connection that you have when you're sharing a memory is so, oh my gosh, it just makes your heart feel so good. It makes you feel alive again. And, he showed me that the things that bring you the most joy are sometimes the most ordinary things. They're rarely the things that have a huge financial value. They're typically a silly little thing. Like I have a cup right here that was from my grandma's house. That cup isn't worth 20 cents, but to me, it's worth so much. So really the joy is in ordinary things and in things that often don't have financial value. And he really just shared with me that even as we age, a lot of times my clients will say, I can't do this anymore. I can't do that anymore. I can't use this. And we focus on loss and what they can't do. And what I realized in that exchange was that he could still totally enjoy the tobacco and the pipes. It just had to be reframed. And he just had to look at it and enjoy it in a different way. And it was just as pleasurable, maybe not quite just as pleasurable, but it was really darn close. And it certainly was for me because I've never smoked a pipe. But it was really just as good just by simply reframing it from a negative to a positive. So I am so grateful to Mr. Helms for that lesson. When he passed away, his son, I shared that story with him, and his son actually gave me a pipe, which is one of my, I know,
Oh,
one of my favorite possessions. I use it a lot when I do training seminars or presentations. And I literally, every time I look at it, I have to pick it up, hold it, and smell it. And when I smell it, it's just a flood of all those great lessons. So that is my story, and I appreciate you guys listening to it.
Well, hello, this is Gina
And this is Don.
from Focused Healthy Family. This is podcast number 238, and today we are talking to Lori Fike English, the founder and owner of Chaos to Calm. In today's podcast, we are talking to Lori about families navigating downsizing, relocation, and years of accumulated possessions. Chaos to Calm is a move management and professional organizing company that has helped more than 1,000 clients and their families navigate downsizing, relocation, and years of accumulated, I may need this someday possessions. As a move manager and professional organizer, she specializes in turning uncertainty into confidence and chaos into calm. You can read more about her bio on our website. And welcome, Lori. We're so happy to have you here. And I had the pleasure of experiencing your company and everything when we helped my mom and, well, first my dad move out of their home. And it was a blessing because it really
Chaos.
did turn chaos into calm.
That's awesome. I love it. That's why we did it.
Well, and your story about pipes, I have to kind of reminisce a little myself because my dad smoked a pipe,
Hmm.
and you talk about the marriage, the trauma that might have been there way back when I don't know, I was probably in my late morning, 11, 12, something like that. My dad smoked a pipe. He'd been smoking for a while, but we all were kind of sick of it because I mean he would dump tobacco everywhere and dump the stuff, all that kind of
Messy.
stuff. And my mom decided to get rid of all the pipes. So she grabbed all of his pipes, and I think she took it up to Miss. We were near the Mississippi. We were in St. Louis. She threw it in the Mississippi. You know. Well, my my clever dad decided that instead of the pipe, he was going to chew, with that tobacco stuff,
Yeah.
and that took about a month before mom bought the pipes back, or at least got more pipes for him and
Yeah.
set him back up in it. But I have that in my mind for one thing, and then just like you say, smelling it,
Hmm.
I still have a Sir Walter Raleigh can that it's out in my garage. It's got tools in it right now, but it's a small can. And I still, every time I think about it, I think about my dad. And it was a lot of pleasure for him to smoke that pipe and
Yeah.
enjoy it and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, that you tripped on one of my
Good.
memories too with that. So thank you for doing that.
Awesome. That's great. That is.
So welcome, and just we'll just jump right in with what inspired you to start Chaos to Calm.
Oh, okay. It was my mom. My mom and I were super close. We talked every day on the phone. She was in Connecticut and I was here in Charlotte. And she was diagnosed with frontotemporal dementia. And this was 15 years ago. So
Mm,
we didn't talk about dementia. Like we had no idea what was going on.
Hmm.
Nobody diagnosed it properly right away. So by the time we figured out what she only had 8 months to live. Like it went
mm.
super fast. And in that 8 month period, we moved her from home to independent to assisted to memory care. And she passed with a stint in a geriatric psych ward, which is a whole separate episode. Um, I realized when I was moving her a lot of things. First of all, there was so much guilt because I was here and she was there. And then in a lot of cases, the responsibility falls on a daughter, as you know. So there wasn't much, I felt like my hands were tied. But anyways, we moved her. I realized I kind of had a knack for it, which was interesting. And so um, as she was dying, I was diagnosed with breast cancer, and I had a legitimate 42-year-old crisis after she died. What am I doing? And I literally stumbled on the internet across senior move management. I didn't even know it was a job. I didn't know it was a thing. I It was crazy. It was divine, to be honest with you. That's how I feel or what I believe. And so when I saw that it involved organizing, which I'm the girl that would like go to my girlfriends' houses and beg them to let me clean their closets, like, please let me clean your closet. Um, I loved moving. I'd moved 19 times myself. I had managed 4 corporate relocations, volunteering for the last one. And I love like all those moving pieces and logistics and the time and the to-do lists and crossing things off and making sure everything gets done. So when I saw it and I was like, oh my gosh, like all these unrelated parts of my life just fit together like a puzzle. And I knew that's what I was supposed to do. It was the weirdest thing. So I just left my job and I had no idea what I was doing. Everybody thought that the chemo had racked my brain. I had lost my mind. I was a newly divorced mother of twins. And I was like, I'm going to go move old people. I'm going to move old people. And I have never been so tired and so um, exhausted and happy and poor and honored and fulfilled as I've been over the last 14 years, being able to do something that feels very natural and a lot of it just kind of comes to me naturally and actually help people with those skills. And I love it. I feel like it's the best thing I've ever I can't believe I get to do it and I get paid for it. I'm lucky.
That's
Really.
always a wonderful thing to do what you
It's a
love.
bonus. Total bonus.
So what does the manager, what all do you do? I guess, maybe because I mean we saw it kind of in what we went through with her dad, Menzo. Um,
Right, right. It's, you know what? We basically do the 500 million things nobody knows needs to be done until somebody else has to do them. So there's not much that we don't do or have someone that can do from the time that the decision is made to move until that person is totally settled and the old house is ready for its next chapter. So that may be figuring out what's going to fit, figuring out, what goes, where it's going to go, how it's going to get there, what to do with everything that doesn't go, the actual physical act of getting things over there, making sure that things are logical and they make sense. We do almost like a big reveal when we do our moves. So we try to keep the client away on move day and we'll bring everything over, set it up. We make the beds, there's clean sheets, the clocks are plugged in. And when they walk in, it feels and looks like home. So
oh,
it's so awesome. Oh, those are my best days. I love those. They are so much fun. They cry, we cry, everybody cries and hugs. It's fantastic. And then we'll go back and clear out what's left in the home and whether it's coordinating the sale or donation or trash sometimes of what's left, we'll take care of all of that so that the family can just move forward with the home.
I would imagine the first step is just sitting down with the client and saying, "This is what do you want to do and where do you want to go?" And then kind of mapping
Yes.
that out, I would
That's
imagine.
exactly what the first step is. So we always start with a free in-home visit. It's not a sales pitch. There's no
Mhm.
charge for it, but it's basically a time for them to get to know me and me to get to know them. And there's all these little clues. God, when you guys have done something for a long time, there's little clues that people will say or that you see that allow
Mhm.
you to figure out what would be the best path forward. And then we go ahead and try to answer questions they have, but also soft launch different plan ideas to see what sticks and what they respond to. And then we put it all in writing for the family so that they can, and the client so that they can review it and make sure that they understand what we're going to do and that they're comfortable with all of it. So,
And for what I observed, it's like kind of an a la carte approach as far as what aspects you want help with, from the
yeah,
whole deal to just certain parts of it.
right. We literally have clients that we've moved that have left the country
Oh
and come
wow.
back to their new home. That's actually, again, that's super fun because I just get to go do my thing. I love that. But then we have clients that just use us to pack or to floor plan or to clear out the home after they've moved. So it just depends. Everything is absolutely customized to what the family and the client want and need and what best fits, their situation.
Sure. And I know our first meeting, we met at like a coffee shop because my dad's dementia. He was paranoid, and we hear conversations and talking about it. And um, your employee was willing to meet me there, and we discussed things before. Then we went back to the house, to make that easier on my dad, because we learned one big lesson to move my dad first. He was going to memory care, and my mom was going actually to a different location. So Yeah, just taking that into consideration before even going and looking at the home.
Because at the end of the day, it's what we owe, in my opinion, it's what we owe them. We owe them the best possible experience. This is hard enough for them.
Hmm.
And it's our responsibility to try to make it as easy as possible and to just gently walk with them through it as opposed to pushing or shoving or dragging them kicking into this new chapter. So yeah, you handle.
When if you have somebody that doesn't want to move but they need to, what kind of things do you use to kind of help kind of change that, or do
As far as if the children are trying to initiate this and
Yeah. So, it's really common that we see this reversal of roles where
hmm
they were the parent and we were the child, and now all of a sudden we have to act like the parent and
hmm
they're not the child, but they need some guidance. The biggest thing I can say is, first of all, don't push or force and tell them what
hmm
to do. Nobody likes to be told what to do. And especially when it's your child, they tend to grab onto the door frames literally and figuratively into their heels, and when you tell them you have got to move. So I think it's more about reshaping and reforming the conversations to, okay, what are our choices? It's not safe for you to be here anymore. Are there things we can do to make this safe? And here's
hmm.
what we need to do: grab bars, 24-hour care, whatever that laundry list may be. And sometimes when they see all of the things that are needed to make them safe, it's an easier conversation. Well, you don't have to do all that. You could go to this beautiful, gorgeous cruise ship and live over here and have a great time. I think with the older generation too, there's what nursing homes were to them in
Hmm.
their mind is
hmm
very different than the reality of what we have today. So a lot of times when you say to a 70-year-old, well, you need to go to the home, that has a horrible meaning to them.
hmm
When I really do look at these places, a lot of them are I'm ready. Like it's like a cruise ship. Great food, all the ice cream you want, wine sometimes. You don't make you don't clean your room, you never clean another toilet. It's not a bad gig. So I think by focusing on the positives and making them, at least giving them the illusion that they have choices, seems to really help shift that from them digging in their heels and just saying, "Mm-mm, no, I'm not going."
Right. I want to double back to your story. I loved it so much. As an occupational therapist, you know, typical people would be like, you can't smoke anymore. We're getting rid of these. But
Right.
it's so powerful that you took that time with him and he could still enjoy, the pipes. And to me, it seems quite an analogy to the whole moving aspect. Okay, you can still have this with you. I know we looked at that a little bit with my dad. What pictures do you want to have up in your room? Picked out favorite ones or whatever. But yeah, just realizing it can look a little different. It doesn't have to look like a yes or a no.
Right, right.
Um,
How can we make it work?
mhm.
Well, and you talked about that round thing with the different cups on it. And we found that up in the attic when we were moving. We had that.
Yeah,
She had a what do you call it? A tin, or not a tin, but what do they call it? Or humidor, something
humidor,
like.
humidor,
Yeah,
humidor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had that. So there was all that kind of stuff stuffed packed up in the. So anyway,
Which is almost always the wife's doing. I can tell you from experience, it is
yeah,
almost
she
always
may
the
have thrown
wife
the pipes away,
that
but
has
she
hidden
kept the
that
other
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah, she
So
takes it to the grave where she put them. That's right. Sure. Sure. That's awesome.
so what's some of the kind of going on the goofy side? What's some of the fun or different things you saw in your
Oh
packing
my
or
God.
unpacking?
I'm assuming you don't want the gross stuff. We've packed a life-size giraffe statue. That was fun.
okay.
Life-size glass statues, which, oh my gosh, that was not fun. Lots of taxidermy. A box of rocks, because apparently they wanted to bring the backyard. That was fun. Best thing that I've ever found, though, was $44,000. That was all.
Wow.
It was, you want to hear the story? It's pretty funny.
Sure, sure.
Yes.
So I was working with a woman who lived in Georgia, actually. She was an only child, and her father had just passed away. And when they went, they had no idea that they knew the mother had struggled with chronic disorganization or hoarding. They didn't realize how bad it had gotten for the dad. And the house was just really emotional for her. The house was full. It was a ranch with a three-car garage and five outbuildings. So
Oh.
I went over there and I know it's horrible, but you put me in a house that's like that, and I am like a pig in poop. I was like, oh, let me go. So I snuck, didn't sneak. I went with permission. Obviously, we got the job, and I went over and I was walking through the night before we were going to start, kind of planning in my head how we were going to tackle it because you could barely walk through the rooms.
Mm.
So I somehow, personally, I believe it was the dead mother, Agnes. I believe in those things. My keys just disappeared. I don't know where they went. So, in the more time than I'll admit that I spent looking for my keys, I found $7,500 in cash, just like tucked in places that I kind of knew. You kind of learned where people hide things. So, I found $7,600, maybe a little more. So the next morning, I called the daughter and I'm like, I found this cash. I have a safe at my house. I'm going to send you pictures. Do you mind if I put it in my safe so it's not sitting in the empty house? And she said, sure, go ahead and do that. By the way, we didn't mention it to you, but my mom always said there was $30,000 hidden in the shed. And we've all looked. It's not where she said it was, but she had dementia. So, I just want you to know that it's there. So I'll tell you, I made it my stinking mission to find money on that job. We found about $14,000 just in the house and coins and money tucked all over, whatever. So now we get into the shed and I'm like, whoa, this is it. I could feel it, right? I'm going to find this money. So I'm going through all of this stuff and I get to a box. It was at the bottom of a stack of boxes. It had like 3 inches on the top of magazines from the 70s.
Mm.
Remember those like they weren't people, I forget what it was, but it was like soap opera people on the magazines. Under that was foam. And underneath that, there were two cash boxes filled with cash.
Wow.
$100 bills in envelopes. It was crazy. I started screaming. Everybody thought something had happened. Then everybody sees like these wads, fistfuls of money I'm holding. Everybody's screaming. Everybody's yelling. Everybody's crying. It took us an hour and 20 minutes to count it all. It was over $44,000. I've got the greatest pictures of it all just spread out on the kitchen counter. So the best part of the story was that I called the client. I'm like, so we found the money. And she's like, no. I'm like, yes, no, yes, no, yes. So I FaceTimed her and showed her all of the money and obviously brought it home, put it in the safe. So the next day I was in that same shed and in a box there was, remember those push, what'd you call them? Like push pots we made it with clay when we were in elementary school, like the little statues and stuff you would make in art class. The little
Oh,
Okay.
clay
yeah.
things, just little clay things. There was this god awful, ugly one of these little clay things. It was a head with a big honker nose. And I put it to the side and it had her name in the bottom where she was obviously a little kid. I put it aside and I swear the thing was talking to me. I'm like, I could not throw it away. And it was so ugly. So I took a picture of it and I texted it to her. Like I'm full of myself now because I've found like, 50 something thousand dollars. I'm like, hope you weren't an aspiring artist. Ha 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 ha. She calls me back sobbing, like bawling. I'm like, oh, my mouth has got me into trouble again. She calls me, she's sobbing, she's trying to get the words out. She was in Sunday school class when I sent her the picture, and she was telling them about how we had found the money. And she said, last night when I was in bed and I was saying my prayers, I was grateful for the money. We didn't really need it, but we were glad you found it. I'm like, girl, I'll take it if you don't need it. So she said, but I was thinking about what I really wanted. And when I was in elementary school, I made that little figure thing, doohickey. I don't even know what you'd call it. It was not a sculpture thing for my dad, and it was on the mantle. And he used to always say that his nose was not that big. But I know his nose was that big because my nose is that big. And that was the one and only thing that I wanted out of that house. But I thought my mom had thrown it away because she was so jealous of my relationship with my dad.
Oh,
He found it.
Wow. Wow.
And to her, again, kind of, I didn't intend to circle back, but circling back,
yeah.
that god awful little ugly face thing meant more to her or as much as all the money that we
Wow.
put in that house. It was pretty cool. I bubble wrapped that sucker. Oh my gosh. I had bubble wrapped it. I put it in a box. I taped it. I'm like, four sous, don't touch, don't touch, to make sure she got it safely.
Yeah.
But it was a lot of money that we found on that job. And I found
Wow.
smaller amounts, 13,000 under a kitchen sink or a bathroom sink, stuff like that. But that was the biggest, and that was the most fun and kind of the best ending because it wasn't about the money.
Yeah, that's a great story. I love that.
I mean, well, we did that. My mom did the same thing. She had a tin can, a big tin can that she filled with coins and money, and because we always heard the same thing. Oh, when she was in dementia, she would say, "Did you get the can from underneath the
Yes.
steps?" Kind of
Yeah.
thing, that kind of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
There are certain people who I call them tuckers. There are certain people that hide money. And then there's people like me, I just don't have it, I spend it. But you always have to watch because if you suspect you've got what I call a tucker, you're going to find money in the back of the wallet, in coat pockets, in gift cards, in all sorts of places. It's what they do. And the dementia just sort of exasperates that because a little bit of paranoia comes in
Well,
sometimes.
I think it goes back to like my mom and dad they were born in right at the end of the Depression,
Mm,
and you know the whole family was worried about money, and so they were putting it away, trying to store it in places where people wouldn't find it and that kind of
right.
thing.
That's
So
right. And they didn't
yeah,
always trust the banks.
Right.
yeah, yeah, because the
Yeah.
banks had crashed.
Right. Right.
So
Right. That's awesome.
so what's the difference between downsizing and right sizing?
Oh, that's a good one. So I heard you say downsizing in the very beginning.
Yeah.
So literally nothing, not much. The words pretty much are synonymous. Emotionally, they're polar opposites.
Hmm.
So when you think about the word down, you get downsized at work, downgraded on a plane, Debbie down or down and out. The word down, whether we realize it or not, has a significant emotional impact.
Hmm.
So when we tell people, oh, we're going to come downsize you, that means loss. It means
Hmm.
less than. It means not as good as. So whether or not we intend it, we don't usually, 99%, you didn't say it intending for it to have a meaning, but there's a pull that's almost like a sucker punch when you say downsizing. So
Mm,
what we always try to say is right sizing, because what right sizing implies is that you're fixing it, you're making it right. There's
Hmm.
intention and there's thought. So rather than losing, we're taking the things that you love and the things you use and the things that serve you and keeping the right things in a place or position that works for you at this point and letting go of everything that doesn't. So it's just a reframing of the mindset to think about it as a positive because it really is. It really,
Yeah.
really is. It feels really good to do. So I'm kind of on a mission to stop people from saying that and to get them to focus on
Sure.
right sizing. We're just getting your stuff in alignment with your life and your goals.
It
80
makes a
still.
lot of sense. Yeah. Um, yeah. And yeah, I know for my mom, it's like she had this 3,000 square foot house and we had moved several times growing up. So she had done the moving deal, but it was usually to the same size house or larger. And you don't realize how much you accumulate in a large
yeah.
home. And, but yeah, she didn't need all that stuff anymore.
Yeah. And she
Um,
probably lived in the kitchen, the bedroom, the TV room, and the bathroom. Like
yeah.
we all tend to live in those rooms, and then the rest of it just becomes storage.
Hmm.
Yeah. We've got a few storage places here. So
And
No,
it's funny because I never saw my mom as someone who hoarded or kept too many things. And yet my kids helped her some and they're like, Grammy had spices from the 1980s. It's like, wow. Just,
true,
she
true.
always seemed organized and things were put away and it never looked real cluttered and that. But yeah, we don't realize the things we hold on to I might need that someday. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, we
Chance,
moved.
or you forget you have it, and then you go buy a new one. And
Yeah.
I think that people don't realize the stress that all that excess
Hmm.
creates because especially with women, I hear a lot about guilt because their closets are all full of stuff, and they just carry this kind of weight on their shoulders of all that excess stuff. So when we start peeling it off, at first it's hard, and then they get used to it, and then it's like, oh my gosh, this feels good. What else can I get rid of? And they just start going and going and just lift up. You'd see a total transformation in their face and how they feel because of the release of that extra stress.
Sure.
So
Yeah, we moved 3 years ago, and it was very much a calm to chaos move. Um, but I remember going through bins in our basement that were like clothes that if I lost a little weight, I'd fit in, and clothes that if I lost even more weight, like I had three different bins of, and I'm like,
mm.
if I
Wow.
lose that much weight, yeah, I'll
I know.
get some new clothes.
And if you fit into something or you lose weight, you want new stuff. You want what's current. So it's true. People hold on to some crazy things. Yeah.
Yeah, when I went up into the attic, and that was, oh my God, that was a 3 day project. And
Because we would just, yeah, we lived there 22 years and we just stuff it in the attic. And we found
I
things we thought we'd lost, some pottery we'd bought on our honeymoon and some cool stuff. And, but yeah, it was and we used the pod company where they come and pack things in the pod. And we had hired some movers and they were great to pack the things up, but they totally underestimated how much stuff we had. You know, they identified two pods and it was not nearly enough space. Yeah, they didn't estimate the amount that we had, but
Space is a vacuum. If you have it, you tend to fill it.
yeah,
You
yeah,
do.
yeah.
Many.
Um, so what do you find is some of the biggest mistakes people make when they
huh.
move?
The biggest mistake is thinking you have enough time.
Mm.
And that there'll be plenty of time to get this done. So you wait. And you will realize how much stuff is in all of those closets and that the attic is going to take 3 days. So if I had said to you before, oh, your attic's going to take you 3 days, you would have been like, ah, no.
I
Right,
can.
right. Exactly. So I think the biggest mistake is that people wait too long and that they think they have more time and then they don't. And then they're cramming and they're rushing and they're exhausted and they're tired. The best thing that people can do now is just start, just start with one drawer, one bin, one cabinet, and just start getting rid of all that extra. So if the time comes and you have time, that's great. We all want more time. But if you don't, it's not nearly as pressured. But time just, I mean, it goes faster than a plate of hot cookies with a bunch of chubby women. It's
I like that.
it's
Did that come from the guy that smoked the pipe, or is that your
no,
own thing?
it's all me because I like cookies. And I can eat a whole tray in one sitting. So yes. Yeah.
I totally relate to the time thing. I mean, we started the process in what, June, July, looking at selling our house. And this is before we discovered your company. And we literally were packing up the house at 1 a.m. the night before closing.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
And
like
we still left stuff behind too. That was,
luckily they were coming in and doing some remodel work. So they were really,
Goodness, they care.
they're like, we're bringing a dumpster. Don't worry about it. So it was not left in pristine condition at all. There were boxes and things scattered about. But yeah.
And you start so organized. When you start, you're like, oh, I'm going to put all these together, and my boxes are pretty and neat and labeled. And at the end, it's like,
oh my God, yes,
just
that was
throw it in the
bags,
box
boxes.
or a laundry basket or a bag and get it over there. That's all
Yeah,
we care about.
yeah.
Yeah. There is a huge benefit to using someone that does this every day because we know and we can accurately estimate and we can stay steady and get it all done quickly and keep
Right.
everything organized. But it's, sometimes it's a luxury. So that's awesome. That's great though that you guys survived.
Well, our grown son was helping us and he started to threaten. He's like, if it's midnight, I've got to go home. Like he
No
was
amount of
the
pizza was gonna fix
he
that.
he was, a little bit like you. He actually used to go to a friend's house and clean up their closet. So he was real on top of things and I was kind of overwhelmed. Like it was just yeah, it was just hard to figure it all out. But he brought packing supplies and kind of helped us move forward. But Yeah, it was an
Really,
ordeal.
you kind of touched on a really good point that, whether or not some people just get overwhelmed, and it's almost
Hmm.
like possession paralysis where they just freeze and then they can't function and they just kind of, I'll watch them like wander from here and go here and they're moving things, but you're like, it's not getting anywhere. So
Hmm.
whether or not you hire someone, if you have someone, a family friend or a son or someone that can come, that's really one of those, let's go, okay, you do this, you do that, that can be so beneficial because the overwhelm is real. That's not,
Hmm.
Hmm.
and it's not anyone's fault. It just like our brains get, it's too much and they just stop. And sometimes you need somebody to gently drag you over and say, you do this and don't worry
Yeah.
about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, because it was fun in the beginning because we'd lived there 22 years. We'd raised our kids. We did the yard sale. We, pulled out stuff. I was like, I would text my kids like games. What do you want to keep? What can we get rid of? And yeah, but by the end, it was literally just tossing things in boxes. And
Literally. I mean, I almost wanted to, we bought a U-Haul at the end
well,
because
we rented it.
we
Yes.
rented it, yeah. And I I was throwing stuff in. I like had to almost close it because they were going to fall out of it. So yeah.
Everybody stand back. We're gonna open the wall. And then you're
Uh,
pulling out of the U-Haul thinking, do I really need this? Why did I even bring it?
yeah, yeah.
Uh, so true.
Yeah.
It
Yeah. We
is.
had a storage building we filled up. In fact, um, my daughter and I, so we moved about, 40, 50 minutes away, and we had come up to Salisbury for something, and we were going to put, I guess, a bunch of stuff in the storage building and had forgotten the key to the storage building. So we went to the hardware store and we're like,
Bolt
yeah,
cutters.
you got something that we could cut the lock with? I remember we talked to the sales associate. He's like, yeah, this is when it's helpful to know a guy.
It is. That's true. That's funny. I always recommend for my clients combo locks because of that, or like a
Oh,
lockbox,
yeah.
Yeah,
Wow.
because
the combination.
everybody forgets the keys at some point or another, or somebody else goes and doesn't have a key. So just store that in the back of your mind next time you have a storage building. Get one of those little
Yeah,
combo
yeah, it's a lot
boxes.
better than
So do you work? I just thought about. Do you work with a lot of realtors and things like that? Do they, are they your referral? Are they the referrals for you, or do you?
For me, they are a lot of my referrals. The traditional move management model is to partner with a lot of communities, which we do.
hmm
We get a lot of move requests from communities. I I went more into the direction of real estate just because it made sense from a business model to do that, and that has really been a great way. They understand the importance of getting people to move quickly. And a
hmm
lot of times, especially with older people, they say they want to move or they want to list the house, but it's going to take them months, and we can go in and do in a matter of days what it would sometimes take a family months to do. So, yeah, realtors are definitely a great referral partner for us.
Yep.
And do you cover more than just like North Carolina or South Carolina? Or where do you cover a lot of? Where do you cover? I guess is like.
So, primarily our area, the team is in the Charlotte market. So that's pretty much our primary area. But we go up, up to Salisbury and out to Lake Norman, Denver, and I live on Lake Tillery, so I'm out in another time zone past Albemarle. And down into South Carolina. But we've had multiple clients that will request we go to other places. So, gosh, I've been to Seattle twice this summer. I've been to New York twice
Wow.
this summer. Where else have I gone? I've gone some cool places, always at the wrong time of year, but Pennsylvania. So we'll go if a client wants us to go someplace, we will absolutely go to help them on both sides if of a move, just to make it easier for them.
Do you go international?
You know what? I've never done international,
Huh.
but I love the challenges that would probably pose. So that would be fun, a fun experiment. So no, I personally traveled international, but I've never done it for work. That'd be
That would
fun.
be a whole
You got
nother
an
level of
Yeah.
yeah, a whole nother level of, one thing I share, as a child, we moved 4 or 5 times growing up. And I did not appreciate it until I moved as an adult with children. Just, I never saw the that level of stress and the challenge that was involved. It was more me packing up my things in my room and just the difference in the experience. And after our move, I was like, the thing that I came out of it with, don't live anywhere for more than 20 years.
That's
It's just
a good lesson. Because it
not a good
helps you
idea.
go through everything. Yeah. Yeah. It also
Um,
gives you an appreciation for what your mom went through because she probably did most of the work. Yeah.
well, yeah. And
Very.
yeah, I mean, they usually had movers because it was often with the job they moved, but yeah, just having that whole endeavor to deal with. And like for my mom, my dad was still living and we moved him into the memory care, but it was the first time she was moving without him being kind of a partner. And it was really the first time she lived on her own since she was in college. And, so there was a fun aspect to it. And I get my own apartment. I get to pick everything out. And yeah, I just so grateful for your company because I just can't imagine what it would have how it would have gone without
Oh
that
gosh.
support and help. Because I want to say that your associate had some moments with my mom, like, look,
Well, yeah, but she didn't like other people coming into her house anyway. That
yeah,
was,
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
time. And
she
I
was
think,
not one to just step back and let someone else take care of it. Um,
Right.
so,
Right.
but did an awesome job, helping her out and manage it. And I just have to say kudos to your company because some things got damaged in the move, but your company was great and they took care of it. And I want to say you didn't even take payment from my mom until all that got
Yes.
settled and the items got fixed. And that's because that's a big problem. Even if you have good movers, things
mhm.
can get damaged, and then it's probably a hassle to go through to get it fixed and get it taken care of. So,
That's one of the things, not every move management company does that, but that's one that I really believe strongly in is that we need we're their person, we're their advocate. And if they have to deal with a moving company and deal with us, that's not simplifying things. So
mhm,
we kind of pull that in under our umbrella. And then we know the movers, we know the team. I can tell them I want Eric and I want Juan this day because they are great with ladies that, whatever.
mhm,
So that relationship helps a ton, not only from the client's experience, but because if something goes sideways, we do so much with the moving company. I can call the owner and say, you need to fix this and take care
mhm.
of my client. And there is a level of accountability there. And that helps. It helps the client, but it also helps the whole experience. So
Sure, sure.
it's
And you have that relationship with the moving company, so they want to keep that rapport. So,
yeah,
yeah, I definitely saw a higher just level of quality and, trusting that you guys were handling things. And I know came in packed personal items, yourself rather than having the movers do that. And,
yeah.
which,
Yeah, we spend lots of time in people's underwear drawers. It's We do. I say that all the time. I say, we're going to get to know each other real well.
Well, I
uh,
I don't know if you gave the tip of the day here, but do you have any tips you
Mm,
want to give to somebody that's getting ready to do this kind of move or this kind of
right.
relocation?
Okay. Well, I think obviously the whole underestimating of time, please don't do
mhm,
that. Start now with decluttering is a huge, huge one. Um, but I think overall, and we've hit on it so many times, is your mindset and your attitude
mhm,
about a move. And reframing it from something that's bad and awful and so much work and going to be a loss into you hit the nail on the head with your mom in college. Going into a retirement community is like going off to college. It's terrifying because you're leaving your
Mhm.
nest. It's scary. It's the great unknown. You've heard horror stories, you've heard great things, and you have to make this leap of faith. And that is scary. It's okay to acknowledge that, but it's also something to be excited about and to look forward to the socialization aspect of it, which is
mhm.
Mhm.
so important and so healthy. The fun, the lack of responsibility. You get to hang out with a bunch of people your own age with no responsibilities, one bail a month, and as much wine as you want, and you stumble down the hall free cookies, and it's a really good deal. So I think really just reframing it all and looking at it as a positive rather than
Sure.
negative is probably the most important thing that you can do because that changes everything about the experience. It really.
Sure. Yeah, and I know, my parents lived in a 55 plus community and there were all kinds of activities and things, but as my dad got more limited with what he could do, then my mom didn't have that interaction.
Yeah.
And, they were in houses. So now she lives in an apartment building. And so literally she's got neighbors right next door to her. And it really helped because she moved in and it was about 3, 4 months later that my dad passed. So it was perfect that she was there. That was all done and behind her, the moving and everything. Um, and yeah, she's got this built in network of people and goes to dinner and they'll sit you with other people if you go down there by yourself.
And
And
if
I,
you don't want to, you stay in your room. It's not, you're
mhm,
good either way. You really are. So I think that's awesome. I think that one other, just to throw another nugget in there,
mhm,
is to do it when you can.
mhm.
Because so often people procrastinate, or they put it off and they put it off and they put it off, and then there's a crisis, and somebody falls and breaks a hip and is in rehab, and now we got to move them, and they have no plans. And then you have no choice. You are forced into whatever's available at that time and into allowing other people to make decisions for you. So, to the extent you can decide and do it while you're able, you get to steer the ship, you get to make the choices, and you're the boss and in control. And that's a much better experience for a lot of clients than when it's in response to a crisis or when
and
one person's in a crisis.
and as an occupational therapist working in senior care, I see that all the time.
Yeah,
And it's challenging now because you go to rehab and some insurance companies are really like,
they want you out.
it's Monday, it's Friday and they tell you Monday is your last covered day. And if you don't have the money to shell out to pay for to continue to stay there, yeah, you got to figure out a plan. And so, yeah, I see that all the time. People having to like now figure out,
What do we do?
what to do, where to go. And a lot of places, communities you're looking at, they might have waiting lists and things. And taking that into account. I I have a client I work at an independent living building and she talks about she wanted a studio apartment. She actually moved out of assisted living to independent because she realized she didn't need that. And it was from one building to another, a different company. And they didn't have a studio at the time. And she wound up with a 1 bedroom. And she has issues with our marketing guy because she feels like other people got this room over her, because until she made the deposit down, but then I guess he told her you'd first on the list, but not realizing that people who lived in the building already had priority because she wanted a first floor. And she just tells the story over and over again and not realizing that this is how this operates. If you don't put the money down, it's not going to reserve your spot. And yeah, understanding that whole concept.
In the process. Yeah.
Um, but
So, I guess kind of wrap it up here. What's the best way for people to be able to find Chaos to Calm?
So they can find us on the web at chaos, CHAOS, the number two, calm, CALMNC for North Carolina.com. And then they can also call us, which is 855 got calm. So
Okay.
855 468, which spells got calm 2256. So they can
okay.
call us at 855 got calm.
And
Um,
we'll put all that up onto the
Thank you.
description
Thank you
too.
so
So
that
much.
it's
people can see that. And
I appreciate
um,
you so much.
yeah, and I appreciate you being here. And I'm pretty sure we found your company at where my mom lives at Trinity Oaks here in Salisbury, I think is where.
We do a
Um,
lot of
and,
things.
and my favorite thing was that she knew the layout of the apartment. And
Yeah,
so could figure what was going to go in the space, right? Because that's always a challenging thing to what's going to fit where.
great.
So thank you so much for being
Thank
here
you
and
guys.
sharing
Thank
your
you so much.
story.
Appreciate it.
We've really enjoyed this.
Thank
especially
you.
the pipes. I love the pipes. So
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that
Good. My
was an
story
awesome
did not.
story.
Okay. So,
so
thank you
thanks for
guys.
joining us today, Focus Healthy Family. If today's conversation, strikes it up for you, then please make sure to leave us a like, subscribe, and share the podcast with somebody that might benefit from it. If stress, panic, and overwhelm are becoming part of your daily life, then you might want to consider my EFT Discovery series. People talk about the EFT as being weird, but when they really work with it, they'll find out that it really works on calming down. And so check out my part of the EFT Discovery session on our website. For wellness tips, caregiving resources, and more episodes, visit focushealthyfamily.com or focushealthyfamilypodcast.com and connect with us on social media. We're Focused Healthy Family on Facebook, Instagram, we're Focused Healthy Family 1, and YouTube at Focused Healthy Family. New episodes come up every Thursday morning on Focused Healthy Family podcast. Make sure if you want me to come in and talk to your organization, your caregiving groups, healthcare teams, and community groups about practical ways to reduce stress and build resilience in your caregiving environment, then check out the website and contact us about having me come and talk at your location. And remember, how you speak to your children and your loved ones today shapes their future and yours.